Verse 32, Jesus stood still and focused on those and listened to him. And he said, listen to what Jesus said, verse 32. What will ye that I should do unto you? He's talking to two blind men. What is it you want? What is it you need? You and I, when we're talking to lost people, we'll talk a little bit about sometimes they don't know what they need exactly. But he listened to him. He said, what? What is it? What do you want me to do? Ask what you will. Ask whatsoever you ask, that I will do unto you. The Bible says, ask. What? What you will. This is a command. Here's a command. I'm going to exercise will if you tell me what to exercise. What is it that you want? Sometimes we have to bring them to that, helping them, number one, to understand their loss before they can come and say, I need to be saved. So there has to be some clarification. And Jesus listened to them. A lot of times I see soul winners, they've got their little thing down, they're going to say. And so somebody comes to the door and this is point 1, point 2, point 3, without them ever displaying that they know they need something. What is it you want? Jesus said, what will you do? And he says, that I should do, I shall do. Excuse me, that the word has the idea, I'm going to do it. You see the surety of it? If you tell me what it is you want, I'm going to do it for you. And I'm going to do it unto you. Most of us are consumed with our wants, and we're not concerned about what people want. So we want to listen deeply. Number one, we're going to focus on the. Number two, we're going to listen. We're going to listen before we talk. We need to allow them to talk a little bit so we can understand where they're at and what they need. Okay? I see verse number 3, he took time to be present with others. He took time to be present with others. Verse 32. That simple little statement, Jesus stood still. He was going with a multitude to out of Jericho back up to Jerusalem, and there was a schedule to keep and the things they were doing. And these men came up and he stood still. He took time. He gave them his time. I've been around preachers sometimes, and I apologize for saying this, but it's true. They're so busy they don't have time to talk to individuals. We got to do this and we got to do that, and I got to be over here, and here's somebody that needs to talk to them, needs that time. He stopped what he was doing and listened to them. One of the things I had to learn personally when I first entered the pastorate, I had these expectations that we were going to grow from a church running 110 to 1,250, in the first week, and then next week we'd grow some more. And because I had all these things to do, and I had things I had buses to plan and visitation to plan and messages to write and all that, and people would come to talk to me, and I'd be doing something else while I'm supposed to be listening to them. No, I say to somebody, I love you when I listen to you. When I take time, your time, my time is your time. This time that you give on Saturday and so forth, you're saying to them, I love you. You notice what Zacchaeus climbed up in the same, later on he climbed up in the sycamore tree, and Jesus was going and he said, Zacchaeus, come down, for today I have to go to your house and spend some time with you. You understand, a sinner on the way to hell is more important than a saint on his way to heaven at that moment. You understand that? What he's doing, what he gets, and what happens to him is more important because this is an eternal thing. So you and I need to be careful about listening, taking time to be with him. We see that when he was walking into the city of Naaman, the widow's son was coming. The widow was coming to bury her son. Wish I had time to develop what all this meant. This was a very important time. Widows in that time couldn't work. There was no place. She would starve to death without her boy. That's what he was providing her living. And so as she walked along with, not only was the grief of my son is dead, but what am I going to do? And Jesus stopped the procession. By the way, every funeral that Jesus attended, he broke up. Every one. He raised people from the dead. Here he stopped at this one. He stopped and took time to raise this widow's son. Maybe if you're a widow today, you would understand how important that really was. He took time. So often, you and I don't have time for our greatest possession, our mates, our children, our parents. We're too busy with playing the video games or whatever it is. We need to take time with those who are important to us and here. Number 4, he determined the needs of others. He determined what their needs were. Again, I mentioned to you that most people don't really know what they need. They look at the symptom and think it's the cure. Okay. Let's look at a few of those. In verse 32, he said, to them, what is it? What is it? Here we're going to determine what you need. They think they need sight. He knows they need salvation. Now, in order to do that, he's going to give them their sight so that they can see. It's not only physical, but spiritual sight that he's going to give them. The woman at the well asked for water, but what she needed was forgiveness. Oh, you go tell your husband. I have no husband. No, you've had 5, and the one you're living with now is not your husband. What you don't need a drink. You need to be saved. The woman the man at the pool of Bethesda asked for help, but what he needed was healing. He said to the great physician, I have no man to put me in the water, and here's the great physician who can say, take up your bed and walk. You understand? We have to help them to know what it is they really need. Most folks out there, you talk to them about salvation, they'll say, well, I'm trying to do. They think they need to do good things. What they really need is accept Christ as personal Savior. So we need to determine what it is that they need. The Syrophoenician woman asked for crumbs, but she needed a banquet. The rich young ruler asked for a job, but he needed a work done in his life. The demoniac asked to be left alone, but what he needed was an indwelling Savior. You see, well, we seeking others to supply their need, we have to listen again, listen. And then we listen, we'll learn what their needs really are. Oh, well, I go to church every Sunday, and okay, well, where'd you go? While you were there, while you went to that church, did you ever receive Christ as personal Savior? Well, we don't teach that. You know, what do they need? They don't need to go to church. They need Jesus. So Jesus showed he loved them by determining what their needs really were. So you and I need to understand that. Number 5, he empathized with others. Verse 34. So Jesus had compassion on them. He cared. Isn't it nice to just have somebody who cares sometimes? He had compassion. This comes from the Latin word means means to alongside of, and passion, of course, is you and I know what passion is. So we have passion with them. Romans chapter 12 verse 13 says we're to weep with those that weep and rejoice with those that rejoice. We're to have compassion with them. To care. Do you care? Does it matter to you if your neighbor dies and goes to hell?